Hello, everyone. Welcome. We're going to get things started. Brain Jar will be joining us in a minute, and we have Condorcet here as well. It's a very, very exciting time for Bribe. We appreciate the entire community for being here today, and we look forward to what's coming up. Condorcet, do you want to say hello?
Yeah, thanks for the intro. Um, so nice to see everybody. We are like I wouldn't say in the thick of it yet, but perhaps the calm before the storm. I'll let you run through your schedule, whatever you want to do today, VEV Maxi. But um, I think my objective is just to make sure that we're all up to speed on, the tons of moving parts. Um, in the Bribe ecosystem right now, and that we're all prepared for what's to come.
Yeah, and there's definitely a lot coming. I'm here to help moderate this discussion. We'd love to hear from the community. As always, we'll be taking chats, requests, questions from the chat. Please upvote things you want to be asked. That's very helpful. We'll also be inviting people to ask questions directly. We'll invite you to join the stage if you request. We definitely love hearing people ask questions in person. So we'll be trying to balance between the chat and those requests, but definitely request if you want to speak. And just to kind of kick things off, first of all, congratulations on the LBP launch. Can you summarize some of the feelings you've been having and how you think the event went?
Yeah, I mean, the LBP was just amazing for the team to see. Really put the fire under us to keep up the rate of shipment and yeah, and do things really well. Um, the LBP, it happened sort of, without trying to pat ourselves on the back too much. It happened sort of, you know, more or less how we expected, given the structure of LBPs and what we knew about copper launch and all of this. So, of course, to recap, the starting price was upwards of $8. The minimum price was $1. Ending price was about $1.27. Um, there's an $100 million total bribe supply, but the number of bribes sold by the end was um, a little over a million. So in total, we raised a total of 1 million and 1 million, 1.52, sorry, $1.52 million, with 150 different wallets participating in something like 2 to 3 times that many transactions. So of course, where does that leave us? The price now is pretty consistently about double of where it ended the LBP, with a circulating supply of about 1.4 million. That is, of course, because we had to add some additional bribe into circulation when we were starting when we started the sushi swap liquidity pool. Um, yeah, so I mean that's the LBP. It feels really really good to have what feels like a traditional smooth LBP. Kind of the game theory of the LBP, get in early as the price is crashing, kind of played out as we wanted it to. So, probably in this audience, there's a couple of us who are chuckling because we got it at $1. um, but generally speaking, we like to see that healthy fluctuation around, or a healthy floor of around $1 to $2 per bribe token. We like to see that, it's lasting, throughout the first couple of weeks of the product. So um, feel good about that. Hopefully, a bit of stability for folks, and only looking up from here.
Yeah, uh, it was definitely, it felt like a very successful event. I know a lot of hard work into it between yourself, Brain Jar, the team behind it, the marketing team. So big shout out to everyone who's getting us to this point. But I know there's so much more ahead. And we announced the Liquidity Rush program. Can you explain how that works and tell the audience how they can participate?
Yes. So, as you all, I'm sure, fully understand, um, a circulating supply of 1.5 million Bribe isn't all that much, right? It's like a relatively modest price change in the Bribe token can come about because of a couple of one-sided transactions, basically. Getting to the point where if buying or selling, 100,000 tokens can or $100,000 worth of tokens can move the price, pretty considerably. So basically, we've seen pretty limited transaction volume early on as um, as trades are more or less because of slippage limited to to $100,000. The point of the liquidity rush is to stabilize the price and add liquidity to the market of Bribe such that larger transactions can actually be sustained by the market. Um, so, interestingly, what we're talking about here is not trying to force the price up or force the price down. It is simply allowing larger participants and larger tickets to play in the market by reducing slippage. So that's kind of the net effect of incentivizing users and holders of Bribe to add additional liquidity positions. Again, I'm sure, at least a few of us on this call have already done that. Latest, I'm literally going to pull up the app. Latest, we have $700,000 worth of TVL locked up, worth of, liquidity positions locked up in the Bribe app, or staked in the Bribe app rather, which is like 1/3 of the outstanding liquidity. So again, just very early on, we're trying to build these use cases, for both tokens and derivatives of the Bribe token, like this like this sushi ETH Bribe LP token, and get those engaged and give use cases to them on our app as soon as possible.
Mm, yeah. I mean, it just seems like things are always happening there. What's happening with the DAO integrations? What are we thinking about with next steps, and how are things going?
Absolutely. So Aave is, of course, our first integration. The immediate next steps we kind of think about in this stake, wait, earn framework. Currently, we're in the staking phase for Aave. So we're trying to accumulate as much Aave as possible, and some exciting things around that very tactical kind of next week plan that I would love to jump in and share next. But of course, there's this staking period which lasts about the next week or so. Then we issue the proposal on Aave. It will go to voting on Aave, and of course, Bribe will participate. During this time, all there really is to do with your votes is wait. We wait for the governance kind of mechanism to play itself out and for the proposal to hopefully be passed and introduced on chain. Then earn. Once kind of all of this happens, once voting has happened, the bid token, in this case, for FRAX, or in this case, it's going to be USDC. So the bid token in USDC will be sent out to everyone who essentially supported the bidder in that election. So that's our earn period. And that is, of course, once on-chain voting has already started. Or ended, rather, is when that happens. So we'll keep up close communication through each of these phases, make sure that you all understand what is happening in the back end with governance. Of course, all you have to know is I stake my tokens, come back in a month, and there should be some incentive rewards in there. But the reality of the situation is that those are not going to come for at least another 2 weeks or so, and they'll kind of all come all at once. Now, to clarify, this is how the bidding workflow works. So this is how we're getting our USDC rewards. They come all at once. However, the rewards and Bribe will actually accrue linearly, which is great. So that's what's next on the Aave pool. After that, we have the tokamak release. And while we don't want to release our entire integrations roadmap, we don't want to make that public yet. You will know absolutely kind of if there are, as integrations are coming up as they get added to our concrete roadmap.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone here who's listening into this AMA will get that information right here on the Discord. Of course, you can always check out the Twitter, head over to Medium, and Bribe has a YouTube channel with all the past AMAs and other clips will be uploaded there as well. So, plenty of ways to stay in touch. I want to remind people to show the chat some love. Definitely ask your questions. Feel free to request. There's a lot of information that we've shared in the past, a lot that we're going to continue to talk about with so much upcoming. But yeah, feel free to chime in. I know some people here on the Discord have been asking questions about why Bribe chose staking versus delegation. Do you want to walk us through the logic behind that choice?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, at least for the Aave pool, this was a difficult decision for us to make. I mean, we made it completely in the context of, our first integration. How do we make sure, again, we're doing like the best job on our first Bribe pool? And the answer became very clear. It's that staking is the method of custodying value essentially in DeFi, and it's tried and true. Um, while some people may point to say Vodium and say, well, look, Vodium just is works based off of delegation. Votomac, you don't even need to stake into. The reality of the situation is that solutions like Vodium use, I mean, they share incentives based off of snapshot votes. And so we really did not have other use cases to look at the time, other secure frameworks to fork, basically. We didn't have those available in the market for us to base our product off of. So rather than, this new small team stumble out into the dark, we simply took what we already knew, what we had already built personally, and extended, extended essentially those contracts rather than trying to start from, completely from scratch. So, there are some basically like tactical security risks here. I'm not going to try to like the tactical like security risks. It's this is actually useful, right? Because primarily what our auditors were looking at, again, like the staking framework is very secure. It's been tried and it's tried and true. It's been done 1,000 times by 1,000 other protocols. The focus of our audit, I think, is actually important to call out, was actually um, our rewards contract and making sure that rewards were accruing fairly to the participants. It's kind of not like this focus on making sure that people don't get their money stolen, frankly. Again, because this is something that's been done before. Like, we're not reinventing the wheel here. So I keep on emphasizing this point over and over and over again to say, no, this was not an easy decision. It was not an intuitive decision. Yet, we took it because this is, it's really not a chance that we can take. And I think, just you all are familiar at this point with minor extractable value and like flash loans. You really just can't guarantee any data like on the blockchain is going to be consistent at any given point in time. So in really trying to secure the protocol to make sure that it works, the way that it should every time, we opted for these more well-established frameworks, these more forkable functions, essentially. Does that make sense to everyone? Happy to, answer questions here.
Yeah, happy. Anyone, feel free to jump in too. But I think the thing that's really clear. I mean, when you create a protocol named Bribe, you've put a lot of thought into it. You've with the name, the whole idea behind it. There's clearly a lot of intention and a lot of thought that's been put into how we got here today,
Yeah.
which is always very enlightening to hear about. You were talking
I
about
mean,
security. Well, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
if you want to be honest, we actually started with a delegation model. We built the first instance of the Aave bribe pool used a delegation. And we actually walked back from that model. So exactly, like um this is something you'll find more detail about in our audit report, which should be going out soon. Um, but yeah, I guess I just want to overemphasize that, just like you're saying, Max, like we've tried to be intentional and think, 2, 3 steps ahead each step of the way here.
Yeah, I mean, you just mentioned the audits there too. What's the status on those? Hey, Brainshar, how's it going?
Oh,
Welcome.
Thanks so much for joining us. We're talking
Yeah,
about the audits here. Would love to have your thoughts too.
yeah. I mean, Condorcet can speak to this, but I mean, you know, via Composable Labs, we have some good relationships with various auditing firms, and so I believe one is wrapping up shortly for Bribe, and that should be hopefully out within a week or something like that.
exactly. Um, so yes, that'll be an exciting announcement, and I think this, probably a good segue into what else is going to be happening, as part of this Aave staking um, period, and the audit is a big part of that. So releasing the audit, getting that out in people's faces, so that people know, Bribe is ready to use. It's ready to start making an impact in governance. So that's a huge part of the next week.
Yeah, again, feel free. We got some people, I think. Oh, we got a request right here. Perfect. Thanks so much. We're going to invite you to speak right now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, thanks so much.
So my question is, um, would you consider like bribe, like CVX is to Curve as like Bribe is to Aave, or am I like what would you compare Bribe to that's currently on the market?
Yeah, it's a super solid question. Um, Kind of. I would say kind of. So to me, and I was just actually having a great conversation about this earlier today. To me, what CVX does is it basically democratizes the time weighting of V curve staking, is essentially how I would say that. So the more protocols you expect to, come out with DAO governance based on Curve. They all used to go to Governor Bravo from Compound. Now they're all going to Curve. Um, well, everybody needs a convex, because here's essentially the problem. The Curve time weighting is not market driven. So it's possible for someone, by just dealing with time weighting, like convex, to capture Curve governance. Essentially, they've left themselves exposed. Obviously, convex, by not introducing a native bribe function, they leave themselves exposed. So now we have Vodium. And even with Vodium and convex, if Curve, to the extent that you need a critical mass of Curve governance tokens or V curve votes in order to drive like major outcomes on curve, like let's say changing fees or, you know, upgrading the protocol or something like this. None of these protocols like Convex and Vodium, they can't really help you with that much. So even then, they're not solving the entire governance market on curve. To me, this kind of like, you know, this hodgepodge or this like layered architecture of different protocols who are just solving like acute problems comes about because it's an ecosystem with a lot of experimentation. It's just happening. But now that DAOs have kind of seen this play out, and now that they're asking the question from the same vantage point that you just did, Buffsor, which is like, okay, what do we do now? Now that I'm starting a new DAO, what do I do? Do I like invite Convex, Vodium, and Bribe to build on me? Do I do something natively? This becomes the key question for new DAOs. So what is Bribe most similar to? I would say that we're actually building tooling to address all of these problems. Ideally, in the future, the Bribe SDK will integrate with well understood frameworks like V-Curve DAOs, like Governor Bravo DAOs, and will automatically be able to, not automatically, but like will, you know, off the shelf, be able to support all of the functions that are required for kind of properly democratized governance, which are time weighting, i.e. curve, balancing the time weighting, i.e. convex, a bribe market, i.e. Vodium, and a coalition builder, i.e. the current bribe application. So I would say that we have all of these kind of visible, you know, we're building for all of them on our roadmap right now. But like tactically, we still don't have any competition on the market because we're like functionally, like the first function that we're fulfilling isn't done by anyone yet. Does that make sense as an answer?
Yeah, that totally makes sense. That's awesome. So you're all those things at the same. That's deep, man. You're gigabrain. I like it.
we're kind of all of them for Aave already, I would say, but I mean very tactically, like, you know, each new DAO needs basically new infrastructure, which is what's really hard. So I don't know. BrainJar is the master of ship or die, obviously. They're shipping new stuff every day. It seems like, you know, for us it is a bit harder because even though we have the same conceptual approach to each new DAO that we integrate with, you know, if your governance token standard is different, if the way that you execute voting is different, you know, if anything is different, then we're pretty much, you know, today at the, you know, at where we are as an organization right now, we're pretty much starting from scratch. Of course, building the organizational capabilities to speed all of that up, though, is kind of my primary concern right now.
Awesome. That you answered my question. Great. Hey, if you're cool, I've got another one for you.
Keep them coming.
So I got interested in MIM spell early on. We were in that little bear market, and so I've been a big fan of MIM spell and Danny for a long time. So the bribe for MIM, is with all the drama and everything that's currently happening, have you guys that's still ongoing, or what are the plans for that?
Yeah, it's at the end of the day, we hate obviously that this has happened, but the response that I've heard from pretty much everyone I've talked to is, look at how MIM has held its peg through this.
Yes. Yeah.
Volume changes, you know, huge market shifts. We're in a bear market, you know, practically. I wouldn't even say that. I say that for dramatic effect. I wouldn't call this a bear market. But in any case, we're in a bear market, and yet MIM has kept its peg. So this, to me, is the best evidence, actually, that, you know, if all goes well for the next few weeks, that we should resurface this proposal and and try to push it through Aave governance again. I think the approved kind of up to $5 million bid that got approved on MIM Snapshot, I think is, a great thing for us to point to and say, hey, you guys off the rails for a little bit, but we were literally about to do this a day before you all got distracted. Let's bring this back and start adding some new use cases for the token. Show people that the community is looking forward rather than back.
Yeah, and I think MIM spells, like you said, it's battle tested. Big test came and it stood its ground. And I think Danny's an awesome developer. He's trying to do too much, and I think that it's caught up with him. So, but that's awesome that that you're standing beside that.
Absolutely. We're community focused, we're user focused. So like honestly, we're trying to as a founder, we're trying to cut the middleman out as much as possible. And that includes us these days. So I'm trying not to think about this as a like an evaluation of Danny, but rather let's just see if the community stays. Let's see how the community does. And the community is what you're integrating with Aave. So, why has anything changed?
Yeah, 100%. Well, hey, thank you very much for your time. And I've got to run from but I hope you guys do well, and I'm looking forward to supporting your project.
Yeah, nice to see you in the Discord. Thanks.
Thank you for the question. To kind of piggyback on that, there's some talk about FRAX. Do we want to jump into what's happening there as well?
FRAX. So this is the next big piece of our kind of rollout strategy. Again, this like initial staking period. FRAX has taken the place of MIM, for better or for worse, as our first proposal on Aave that will go to on-chain governance. And we've gotten good like retweets and good support from the FRAX team so far. So planning to a couple of things that you guys are going to see come out. First of all, a risk assessment on FRAX has been released, kind of comparing it to Fei and other stable coins like DAI that are supported by Aave. You'll also see a proposal on FRAX governance itself, to bid similarly to how MIM committed a bid for an Aave integration. So exciting stuff. Again, pretty cookie cutter, just like it happened with MIM, but FRAX is the new focus.
Nice. I feel like there's a lot to look out for and a lot coming our way in the future. There was a question in the chat that has been removed, but I thought it might be interesting. Some people here might want to hear the answer to it. I mean, focus, a big piece of Bribe is getting paid to govern. How will people go about claiming their rewards for staking? What does that process look like?
Made it as easy as possible. You can withdraw anything from the Bribe app whenever you want at this point in time. We'll let you know, obviously, if that ever changes. But if it changes, it'll be with like new types of assets or whatever. Our commitment to you is you can withdraw your Bribe, you can withdraw your Aave or any kinds of votes whenever you want. So claiming your rewards is as easy as going on the app and hitting a withdraw button for rewards. Obviously, they'll all be accumulating to the Aave pool first and foremost. So you'll go over to the Aave project page, and there's a claim rewards button there. Obviously, nobody has any rewards yet, but that button will work once you get some rewards in there. Deposit and withdraw for Aave pool assets is also right on that Aave project page. Should be pretty straightforward, but feel free to ping us a message in Discord if it's not.
Yeah, I see some messages coming in about having a claim button for the SLP, not having to withdraw there. It's a good thought from the community. Is that something that's that we're looking towards doing?
That is a yeah, that's a great question. For withdrawing, we're talking about withdrawing. Let me look at the chat. Bribe rewards from the SLP.
Yeah, not having to withdraw, just claiming them.
Got it. Yes, that's something that we can look at adding.
Great. Brain jar, I mean, you have so many great ideas about this. What are some of the things that are really exciting you about moving forward, and especially in collaboration with some of the other projects that Composable is doing? What's getting you really excited right now about Bribe?
Yeah, I mean, it is no secret that the cross-chain space will be a space in which adoption of this fundamental technology is going to, depend a lot on a lot of different variables. So we're interested in utilizing. We definitely have a commitment to working with Bribe, not only to from our standpoint, get some proposals passed that are important to us as far as adoption. But also, we're very interested in, working with Bribe on this cross-chain governance problem as well, which there will definitely be some updates about that over the coming weeks. But yeah, that's kind of our, how we're approaching Bribe is we're very much interested in having a long-term relationship with which we can, for instance, this Aave concept, this Aave pool is very also, quite helpful for Composable because, for instance, when Aave Ports goes live, we could be able to tap into that using as an additional source of liquidity for Mosaic, right? And so obviously Bribe becomes a tool for us to try to get something like this passed. And so beyond just the cross-chain fundamental infrastructure we're building together, this is also something we're very interested in utilizing from a strategic standpoint.
Yeah, I think growing the ecosystem together synergistically, utilizing Bribe is definitely going to be very helpful and impactful. We had questions too about when. I know timelines, exact deadlines are tough to nail down, and people can stay up to date. But what's the best way for people to continue to stay informed on when rewards will start coming in for all of this and the next steps?
Watch Twitter. But the best thing you can do is just stake now. I mean, you weren't going to sell, were you? So, and then that's joking, but hopefully not in bad taste. But but yeah, I mean, just stake it now. This stuff is all happening imminently. FRAX and MIM are on the Aave forum as proposals. FRAX is already like a listed token on Aave, actually. So it's not like kind of, so yes, that is just to say like this governance activity is currently in action. It is, disappointing that our plans with MIM, seemed so great, kind of got derailed a little bit. That is that's the industry, but it's kind of full steam ahead. We're working with FRAX. We have other collateral types that, that we're considering adding onto Aave. So this will provide a consistent revenue stream for the next, few months at least, as we're putting all of adding new collateral types to Aave. As we are doing that, we'll open up new pools, which should all be, quite exciting as well. So, I guess the point here is just to say, your opportunity cost of staking your Bribe and your Aave into the app, a week early is probably pretty low. I'm the kind of person who likes to trade and forget, stake and forget. And so, hopefully that, that is essentially how you're going to optimize your performance on this app as well. Just get your votes in there so that we can use them, and we'll take care of it from there. If, to be comfortable with staking, you would like to wait for the audit announcement, that'll go out by early next week. And it'll also coincide with with a few other things that should really help to draw attention and activity to the protocol that you're going to want to. So basically, watch out for all of these things, because my sense is that if you don't stake now, if you're waiting to stake, you don't want to miss the train. And and a lot of exciting things are about to happen, basically, that are going to kind of feel like the train leaving the station. So what are those? It is, we have publicized that our investors are supporting us with, Aave. So we expect, upwards of $20 million in, worth of Aave in investor support to come into the pool, which is going to look amazing. We also are announcing a grant from Aave that we'll be getting. The purpose of this grant is to give a gas rebate, a gas refund to people who stake into the Bribe application. So that's really exciting and a great opportunity for us to, again, expand our audience. Of course, the FRAX proposal will go through, as we have mentioned, and that bid money will come into the platform. So, by the time that all of these things are happening, I may even be missing a couple of things, but, there's a lot of essentially bullish stuff that's going to happen over the next 2 weeks or so, to get us in the position to pass, to successfully execute this FRAX proposal on Aave. And all I can say is you're going to want to make sure that your tokens are staked by the time that all of this is happening. It doesn't need to be today, but definitely by the time that the audit goes out and kind of emissions have started. Oh yeah, that's the last thing. Bribe emissions, they're not even turned on yet. They will also be turned on imminently. So to be fair to everyone, we're not telling you exactly when, but they will be turned on very soon. So when you wake up, check Bribe Twitter and stake if you have not already, once emissions turn on. So yeah, again, like all of these factors, the protocol was really, you can almost consider like the past week as Bribe getting released on testnet. We're playing around with our tokens, we're trying things out. There's no rewards yet. We are paying real gas money, but so be it. And by the end of next week, we will be properly making a difference in Aave governance. So do not sleep on the next week and a half. I implore you. We will communicate each step of the way. So what are those 4 key things to watch out for? One more time: Bribe emissions start, the audit release, the FRAX proposal getting bid on, and what's my last thing? Jeez, I'm missing it.
You got the liquidity rush event coming right up.
Liquidity rush. I love it. It never stops.
It never does. That is
And the
honest.
Aave grant. That's right.
Yeah, we have another question coming in from the chat. It's talking a little bit about the philosophy of Bribe, but there are a ton of politics happening in some spaces, such as MIM. How active does Bribe want to be about these politics, or how active will it be?
Want to make sure that I'm addressing the question correctly. So I guess I'll give a quick answer and then tell me if I have not answered your question. But my quick answer is just to refer to how we addressed MIM previously in this conversation.
I think,
yeah.
To clarify, I think it's more about maybe it's more politics in general. I mean, I don't think Bribe is stepping in to sway one thing or another. I think, am I correct in saying that, it allows people an opportunity to get more involved in governance?
That's exactly right. I mean, to us, we just view it as, we view these politics as like, I mean, these to me these are individually centered politics, and that's just not our business. It has nothing to do with us. So I do think it is the MIM answer essentially, which is, look, if MIM is strong because everyday people are using it and finding utility from it, and because it has a large distributed community, which is going to make sure that it doesn't lose peg. And why do I care what happens with its leadership team, frankly speaking, as long as there are not crucial vulnerabilities like if this person has if the multi-sig is not good, right? If the multi-sig isn't going to protect the users, then that is a problem. That to me does become DAO politics. But that was amended pretty quickly, right? Like multi-sig got fixed, the owners of the keys got amended, the community removed this guy with the past. So to me, like the problem was solved from there. Found problem, solved problem. That's what DAOs are supposed to do. It's not inherently political. And so yeah, my intuition is like when you stay community focused, you realize that like there really are not that many politics to be dealt with. When we think about quote unquote politics on Aave, there's a situation. There are personal politics. Again, there are not DAO politics. Personal politics on Aave, what do they look like? Well, Faye just got added as a collateral type with no snapshot vote, with no public kind of discussion. Faye was about to get added on Aave as collateral without any vote at all. It was literally about to get pushed through. I don't know who's on the call. I'm just saying history here. It was going to get pushed through by Aave's by kind of Aave's risk ecosystem without any public vote whatsoever. Mind you, this is kind of a big deal. Like there are only so many collateral types that you can use on Aave v2. And so the fact that Faye was going to get pushed through without any kind of vote whatsoever was of concern. That, to me, again, is personal politics. I don't know how that happened, how that decision got made. There is no on-chain or internet record of how this mistake was made. These politics are again the ones that we're trying to replace, rather than a decision just getting made without any justification, without any transfer of value, without any public on-chain record. Now these kinds of transactions are happening through Bribe, so at least the community knows if these personal politics have become the DAO's problem. In lieu of that, however, whatever politics here or there, people will have forgotten about the MIM situation a month from now. Like this is just how we are in the pace of the industry. So I think we do our users and our community a service by staying user focused, community focused, and not politics focused. Hope that is helpful to the questioner.
Yeah, it seems like we focus on what we do, create the best protocol possible, bring governance on chain, all those important things. This focus of Bribe, if I'm summarizing correctly. I want to see if there are other questions, if anyone wants to come up to speak. I know we're getting close to the top of the hour. If not, we'll have last remarks from our hosts up here.
Quickly to address the bond question, it's definitely it is something to consider. Liquidity mining is not a sustainable solution for anyone, any protocol. So we'll be looking at that. I don't know if that is your expertise, by the way. Happy to have the conversation. Please stick around the Discord.
Yeah, lots of ideas flowing in the chat there. Doesn't seem like we're having anything else pop up right now. So Condorcet, Brainjar, do you have closing thoughts?
Not really from my end. I mean, this has been great. Appreciate you all hanging around for the brain dump, for the plan of activities next week. In case you weren't taking notes, let's recap those four: liquidity rush, Aave grant, bribe emissions starting, and the audit announcement, as well as investors staking their Aave into the Bribe app. We are going to be properly launched by the end of next week, everyone. So make sure you, your friends, your families, loved ones, are all staked and ready to go, we're about to start taking on DeFi governance, y'all.
Very bullish, very bullish. Yeah, from our side, I echo that, and excited to be releasing lots of technical stuff regarding cross-chain governance with Condorcet over the next coming weeks. So yeah.
Looking forward to it as well.
Well, thank you both for your time being here with the community. Thank you to the community for listening in and all your questions. We appreciate all the activity on Discord. Definitely stay tuned with all things Twitter, Medium, YouTube. This we'll get this recording up on YouTube if you want to listen back or share it to friends. But yeah, thank you to our hosts again, and I look forward to seeing what's next for Bribe.
Thank you.
Ship or die.
Let's go.
Ship or die.